to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And as always, I have a very special guest for you, Miss Myriam Jean, community advocate. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
Welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. Like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Myriam Jean, community advocate. She'll be with us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here, Myriam. You know what? Community affairs, community activism, all those things are so important. And I think you're the perfect person to have, to come speak on that because you represent it, you live it. And I think there's a lot of things going on in our community that we really just have to touch upon. But before we even dive into that, who is Myriam Jean? Give us a crash course, little synopsis of your life.
I am very engaged and involved in currently promoting Black businesses and Black engagement and just making sure that people are aware of their power and how to exercise that power, whether it be at voting, financial, political. I try to spread awareness wherever and whenever I can, not only in my personal circle, but also my professional. I try where I can.
So before all that happened, before you started developing your love for that, what were you doing before? I want to know about you before all of this.
Well,
some nitty gritty.
Some nitty gritty. I come from a pretty large family. So I've always been very involved with my siblings and as well as my community. So I've always had these opportunities to kind of volunteer and participate and to be very engaging and connect people. And due to that, that's sort of naturally translated to other areas of my life. And I try to promote events. I try to create spaces where people can gather, particularly people of color. Mm-hmm. And I try to more or less create a haven and a sanctuary for Black people where
That's
I can.
Amazing. So you say you come from a pretty large family. What's your ethnic background?
I am Haitian.
Very nice. We have our producers, our family. Consider, I'm an adopted Haitian.
Pretty
so
much.
I've been adopted by the family and the community. But you know what? Haitians are very, very close knit. That's one of the things I would have to say out of a lot of the Caribbean islands. I mean, you guys stick together. You guys represent, and it's always nice. It's always something I've loved and admired about the Haitian community. So for you to be able to have that impact on your community because you speak English perfectly, so I'm sure you also speak Creole.
Yes, Mbali Creole too.
So that's a big factor when you're able to help translate because there's still a language barrier at times. And I think that's what limits so many non-perfectly speaking English Haitians a lot of time because they're intimidated sometimes by that. And we understand because things are not always presented in the most friendly way. Like, especially we're in a Trump era where you're an immigrant, you're not from here, and they make you feel clear that you're not wanted and welcomed. So when you have that opportunity to be able to be a facilitator to your community, I think that's great.
I enjoy it. I step up, and I think part of our Haitian motto is strength through unity. Mm-hmm. And I feel that I was born in Haiti.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I feel that that's such a part of my identity. So I speak French, I speak Creole, and I try to transport or transplant some of the values that the Haitian community has to my Black American side. But at the same time, I'm kind of caught between African heritage, Caribbean heritage, and it's sort of a diaspora battle that we all have.
I like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what happens is I find that trying to get that same unity in America sometimes can prove to be challenging because it doesn't always look the same. For example, a lot of Caribbeans tend to have businesses when they come over here, Jamaican businesses, Haitian businesses, and I think that trying to cultivate that same energy can be challenging due to the racial history in this country.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. And it's just challenging all around, especially like my parents are Trini, but we would still never be looked at as the same. And I'm sure you've witnessed that there's even Black Americans who, again, they separate themselves there's Africans, Caribbeans, and Black Americans. And I'm like, should there even be such a divide to a certain degree? Because they would look at it, well, y'all are Caribbean, y'all are African. Okay, but where did you, if you just trace it back, you technically, the root is still there.
I think there's value to that. I think we are all descendants of Africa. However, the challenges being faced by Black Americans are particularly unique. I think that Caribbeans tend to have their family structures intact, and we come over here with our hard work and our discipline and all the stuff that our passions, and we just sort of, whatever we're doing back home, we transplant it right in America. Whereas Black Americans, due to the redlining and the Jim Crow and all the challenges they face, it can be hard to just say we're going to lump all Black people together because they face particularly structurally unique challenges.
That's an excellent point.
So that's very tough. And I think as a Caribbean, I had to learn. And I visited Africa, West Africa, and I had to see for myself the difference between West Africa, Haiti, and Black America.
How did that all compare? Because seeing that you've been to all three.
Wow. I mean, it was definitely eye-opening. I feel like for the first time, I saw Black people walking with a certain dignity and pride, even the way they stepped.
Where was this?
Nigeria. Even the way they walked was just very commanding, like, this is my land kind of a thing. And I literally stopped to stare because I've never seen that kind of a thing. I know Haitians are proud. Our history is very unique. But just seeing that Nigerian connection, going to the movies and seeing all the families together and the mom and the dad and everyone was together, it just really made me feel like, wow, Haiti is so powerful because Haiti is like the blackest country in the Caribbean. And so when I went to Nigeria, I went to the Museum of Calabar, and while I was in there were like 4 or 5 historical figures. And as I'm going through the different African historical figures, I come across Toussaint Louverture. And that, as a Haitian liberator, for me, that was like humbling, because I was like, wow, Nigeria recognizes Toussaint Louverture like all the way from the Caribbean, and out of 5 historical figures, he was one of them. It's like a huge statue. Yeah. And I was just like floored. I was like, wow, I felt really, really proud. And then when I came back to America, I was different. I wasn't the same. I was changed,
And would you say that fueled more of your drive to want to really be an advocate?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It made me feel like there should be a better connection between the diaspora. I do believe in Pan-Africanism in the sense that Black Americans should go to the Caribbean, Caribbeans should come to Black America, and we should all go to Africa, and we should have some kind of interchange between us all.
Well, hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So Myriam, we were talking about Pan-Africanism, and I actually want to dig a little deeper on that with you, because we hear the term, but I don't think a lot of people fully understand. And I like your point where you say, Africans should come visit more of the American side, Caribbean people should go to America, just really touch upon all that. But I want to hear your input on this.
I think there's the year of return. I'm not sure if you're aware of the year of return with Ghana. Ghana essentially is saying, come back. You're able to come back. And while I admire and respect that, I feel like Black Americans have made America their home. They are, in fact, American, right?
Yes.
And so, yes, they are American. They are citizens, and they are several generations in. While they can have access to Ghana and Nigeria and the Congo and all the Senegal and all the other countries, they should still have rights. They should have reparations. They should have their due. Just like Haiti has their beef with France, and they should have their due, right? And just like Africa.
Do you think that's ever going to happen?
Well, there's been talks about it in the recent election cycle. It's been the latest on everyone's lips, from Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders. So the conversation's definitely going.
That would actually help Haiti quite a bit, and it's owed. Like, I think, like you said, it's at a minimum, it's owed to them.
Yeah, at the very least, not only did Haiti suffer tremendously on financial terms, the land itself was overworked. I think one of the reasons that people often get lost on is the fact that we had some of the most brutal slavery. The fact that I am this complexion means that my ancestors were I literally look like the people that were working on the plantations, because they would cycle the slaves in so much and so quickly they would die out. And so they realized it was not a choice for them to fight back, because besides Haiti and Jamaica, they were like just bringing slaves in so often that the slaves had no choice but to rebel, because they would actually torture them with sugar cane, they would boil them, they would do all kinds of horrible things to them. And so I felt like that fueled the fire for our rebellion itself, And so we're definitely owed things because of the erosion that happens, the deforestation. All these things are just besides the economic impact of, slavery.
Absolutely. When have you done any recent visits to Haiti?
I haven't. I visited, there was a hurricane. I don't know if you heard about the hurricane a while back, 2016, I believe. At this time I was trying to visit, but I didn't have any family there, so it was like a whole thing, because most of my family's here. I have a few family members there, but that is something that's definitely on my radar for sure, and a lot more African countries as well.
What do you think, or what in your mind, since you haven't been back, how do you vision Haiti right now?
Wow. Well, a lot is happening. The President Jovenel has been talking about building roads and kind of fixing our electric grid. There's been some talks. I mean, any Haitian president that comes in is pretty much going to get challenged, just due to the fact that Haitians, if they don't like this president, they get rid of him. They don't like this one, they get rid of that one, because they have that nature of just not putting up too much with dictatorships or any sort of corruption,
what they went through,
because of what they've gone through. So historically, we are known to protest and boycott and resist and rise up when we don't agree with something. And so the president is 2 years in. He's going to have his work cut out for him, and he needs to be able to prove to the people that he is in fact making changes and not, succumbing to any sort of political, corruption. So,
but of course, like most other Caribbean islands, there is corruption. There's corruption here, but I think more so in the Caribbean, you find that more prevalent. But with your work that you're doing here, do you find you're still connected to the other diasporas? Of course, Florida has, outside of Florida, Boston,
Canada.
Yes.
I definitely am. I think it's kind of weird, because although I've been here for quite some time, I still feel like Haiti's my home, and sometimes I actually get homesick. And I feel like, I went back a while ago, and I feel like I need to do this regularly, even annually, because you do get homesick. It's where you were born, and I always want to be by the beach. My parents own a home in Florida, and so it's like, the Boston Haitians, the Florida Haitians, so I am not only connected to the different Haitians community where they live, Ohio too, but also the different Nigerians, the different Ghanaians, the different Jamaicans. They have communities as well. So I try to connect to all, access all the diaspora if I can.
And that's great. And ultimately, what do you see yourself as in your mission with your work right now?
My work would be to circulate our own, I believe in group economics, circulate our dollar, challenge the racial infrastructure, use our collective economic power. Currently, 93% of the Black finances are spent outside of the Black community. It's a tremendous amount of money to be spending outside of our community, to be honest.
But it's because I think we don't have all of those things available for purchase that we could buy exclusively Black owned. I'm sure more people would do it if there was more available to be like your own Black owned supermarket with your own Black owned grown foods.
Yes.
I think people would do it, but we don't have the opportunity to even make those choices because they're so limited.
They absolutely are, and I think this is where raising the awareness, raising the consciousness of the Black collective, because a few people that are talking about it, such as Killer Mike and other people that have been trying to get people to put money in Black banks and get them to invest in the community. There was a recent toilet paper, like Freedom toilet paper, or True laundry detergent, or Coral Oral toothbrush. Like, there are certain brands that are trending, but can we get these brands collectively under one thing? Like, we might just need a Black Amazon. You know what I mean? Like, where's the one-stop shop for Black people to go online? Currently Amazon
Black.
has the monopoly.
Absolutely. And I mean, they're so big, and that's a whole other topic about, I mean, I'm guilty of using Amazon. I love Amazon. But if you really do your homework and research, it has been bad for a lot of the smaller shops. It has put a lot of people out of business. And then we have to understand, even with trying to buy Black, so prices are going to be a couple dollars more. Are we going to eat that and support, or are we going to be like, nah, I'm going to go Target?
Well, with big tech companies, that's what they do. They monopolize you have the Walmarts and the Googles and the Facebooks and the, these large companies. They dominate the industry, and essentially they just get bigger and bigger, and they're not regulated. And that's something that's going to be talked about during the election cycle, which is why we need a local Black laundromat, pharmacy, grocery store, corner store, all these regular things. Like, every time you go shopping, the question needs to be, is the person on the other side of the counter, do they look like you? Are they your complexion? Do they look like somebody you know? And oftentimes for Black people, that is not the case. That's simply not the case, And we can change that. We can change that.
And just keeping wealth within, I mean, Jay-Z had said it about, buy the block. You don't like how it is, you got to buy the block. And that way you could have Black stores and Black schools and everything else. But that's a process. Like, that's not going to happen overnight, obviously. But the long-term vision is there, and to plant those seeds. So with people like yourself, I think that does make it a little more available to everything.
I think with the Black intelligentsia particularly, we have these talks among ourselves that never actually trickle down to the wider Black collective. Like, we know what needs to be done, and political power and economic power can affect change. It's not you hear people say, I don't need to vote. You're like, you don't think that who's president or who's governor matters? Like, your local mayor, you don't think that what they're doing, the policies that they're pushing through, are going to affect you? Look at what's going on currently with the bans, the abortion bans that are popping up, Alabama and Georgia. Those bans are due to local governors. Stacey Abrams ran in Georgia, and the man she lost to is the one that pushed through that ban. So it's not a matter of, it doesn't matter. No.
It does. It absolutely does. Well, hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So, Myriam, a lot is going on. You're doing some great work. You've been traveling. What has been the highlight for you of your most recent work?
The highlight for me was a collaboration that I did with a friend. She runs Tulsa Business Networks, and I do Black Small Business Matters. And what we did was we're promoting, interviewing, educating, and sort of like going around to local Black businesses in like the Brooklyn area. And we were sort of trying to get some traction going and sort of passing out flyers and doing that sort of stuff. And her name is Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Rachel Dizier. And we did this work together where we went around with our little dowel thingy and we videoed and everything. And we tried to expose Black businesses. And we both have these pages. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have social media handles. And we try to pump out sort of buy Black, circulate your dollar, this matters, and that collaboration meant a lot to me because she's also Haitian, having someone that values what I value and is as passionate about it makes me feel like this type of work can be duplicated. So that work that we were doing more recently was very meaningful to me.
Absolutely. And of course, with challenges, with highlights, there's challenges. So what is something that's so challenging that you find, it's an obstacle, not that it's impossible to overcome, but still an obstacle?
One of the things that I find to be particularly challenging is just the notion of getting people to just realize that every single time there's an ad like Gucci or like Prada or some kind of derogatory thing, it's kind of done on purpose or to mock black people, or just don't buy our brand. H&M, thank you. Starbucks, It's like, until we say it with money, we're just kind of we're punching up, essentially. We're punching up like, oh, stop, And so, and all they do is punch back down at us, and like, we're more powerful, we have more money, and you're not gaining any leverage from your protests and your outrage. And so we need to hit them where it hurts, which is money, because we're in a capitalistic society, Right. So that's challenging, trying to get people to realize your outrage is just simply not enough.
And what about when you deal with different people? You're trying to get the message out there. You say you create flyers, you use social media, but do you ever get any negative criticisms from people who may think it's over the top? They think it's too black?
To be honest with you, generally speaking, 98% of it is pretty positive. I even reach out to outside communities, even like my white friends and my Latino friends, and like, and blacks can be Latino as well,
Yep.
And so, and Koreans and Asians and, whatever have you. I feel that it's generally very supportive, because technically they're doing the same thing. Everybody practices group economics, even though black people are kind of pushed for inclusion, but everybody else practices group economics. Chinese circulate their own dollars. Jews circulate their own dollars.
Oh, yes.
Everyone else does it. So I think they can appreciate when they see someone kind of promoting it.
Absolutely. And it's like a little group within a group,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, got to keep that wealth.
Yeah, it doesn't mean other people can't come. Yes, please, if you're white, come to black businesses. It doesn't matter. The same way we patronize other cultures, they can patronize us as well. Like, please, have a Jamaican beef patty, have some Haitian grill, like, come through. But it should be an exchange.
But get that patty from a Caribbean spot or a black spot versus Kennedy Fried Chicken.
Right. Let's just have an exchange, not where we're always giving out and then we're never getting anything back. So.
Absolutely. So, of course, 2019, I can't believe we're halfway through the year already.
Mm-hmm.
What ultimately do you want to see for yourself as Myriam Jean and the rest of your contributions? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to broadening my platform. I've done a lot locally, and a lot of my friends that do similar work, they've actually gotten to be like, of various shows that, that are known. I don't want to, humble brag or anything, but, these little seeds that we plant that start initially as local TV do go on. I've seen my friends go on to GMA or like The View or like The Talk or The Chew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen friends that sit down, like I'm sitting down with you now, actually go from local to national, and the message is broader. Even the girls that started Curl Fest, I don't know if you know Curl Fest in Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
I know them.
I'm a curly girl.
Yeah, it was just literally an idea in the living room, and they all sat there and they said, you know what, we're going to do this. And I watched it grow from 100 to 1,000 to global, so it can definitely spark. So I'd like to see something similar for myself. I'm interested in black lifestyle, and I'm interested in living well and being carefree black girl. I'm really interested in that.
What about your family in terms of how do they feel about your work and what you're doing?
They particularly enjoy it. I think they've always been very encouraging and supportive. I feel like they're all similarly conscientious. Like, my family's just generally conscientious anyway. And so I feel like whenever they see someone kind of utilizing their passions, they're always going to be supportive of that.
It's amazing. I know there's a lot that you've been working on and just going through and plummeting through and getting the message out there. What has been the funnest part for you?
The funnest part is just meeting the business owners. I love meeting the business owners. They love exposing their businesses. They truly enjoy the exposure. They enjoy telling their story of how their business got started. I just really enjoy that. I like meeting the family. Sometimes it's like a family business and you meet the mom and daughter or the husband and wife. It's just really cool, whether it's a coffee shop or a bakery. I just really enjoy the entire dynamic.
Absolutely. And getting to meet these businesses, I think, could definitely be something of, long term. You might be able to even transcend this into consulting. Where do you really see ultimately what would be your ideal to curate this into?
I love that. That's definitely something I noticed that tends to happen because I'm just a connector.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that when I first started going to businesses in my local neighborhood, I would bring like dozens of friends. Like, oh, go to Cafe Shane's. And then after a while, 30 of my friends would have gone to Cafe Shane's, or go to Peaches restaurant in Brooklyn. And all my friends go there. It's like whenever I go somewhere, I tell my friends about it and they end up flocking there by the dozens. And so I host events at these local Black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So it just feels like, hey, this can be something here where I can actually do some consultation work with this. Or
Absolutely, because we like to grow, we like to have a good time, and it's great. But Myriam, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It's been fantastic, and we're looking forward to have all your contact information at the bottom of the screen so people can reach out to you if they should do so. And it's been wonderful.
thank you. It has. Thank you.
You're welcome. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you. We really look forward to hearing from you.